Where was we at?
You were talking about your mom and what a good cook she was.
She's a wonderful cook. But the way she done it, was amazing. And the neighbors around there, when they run out of a store to eat, they'd have to come over to her place and get a store to eat. Go back and get it to go again. But the old Leaf Day place, and you remember it, that long house? Well, that used to be the schoolhouse where my dad went to school at. And he had Lizzie Butler and Aunt Jane Larry that was there too. He had all the names on that who was who. And I think there was 3 girls on the bottom that he didn't know. But he remembered every one of the others.
Is this a picture?
Yeah, it's on the picture.
Who has that picture?
You know, I don't know. I know where there's one at.
Where?
In the cafe there at Circleville.
Oh, that's the picture you're talking about. Okay, I've seen that
I
picture.
remember the one that was what we had.
Okay.
But I think when Mother and Dad both died, well, I think the girls chucked her into the fire.
What?
I know that's where Dad's the town was built upon the flat before it was moved into town.
And you think your sisters threw away burned pictures?
I think they burned every damn thing there was, I'm not sure.
I hope not.
But I wouldn't be a bit surprised.
Wow, that's sad.
But I know they burned up Dad's history there.
Of the town of Circleville? So he had written it. He was important in the settling of the town of Circleville, wasn't he? The early days of Circleville?
He was town president, I think. And then he was over the water when they went up into Wade Canyon and got it and piped it down into town.
He worked with that.
He got up way early in the morning and come home way after dark.
Wasn't he on the school board as well?
Huh?
Was he on the school board?
Yeah, he was school board. And he was also over the draft board when it was.
He was over the draft board too?
Yeah. Yeah, so he sent me to the army.
Was he who talked you into enlisting rather than waiting for the draft to come?
Huh?
Did he encourage you to enlist before you were drafted?
No.
No, he didn't.
Then when the war broke out, him and I were up on the, above in the Smith pasture, what we call that's that pasture up there, Dalton. Morgan, I guess, own it now. But Morgan's own it now, and there was a bunch of sagebrush and would go in there and hunt rabbits.
And you and your dad were there when the war broke out? At that pasture you were telling
Yeah,
us?
well, yeah, when we come home, we heard that Pearl Harbor had been bombed. And Theodore Roosevelt was the president at that time. Within 2 hours, he declared war against Japan.
How did you feel about that?
Well, I knew we had to do something to get rid of the Japs, or they just took the world over. But when we were fighting the Japs, the Russians woke up and see if they didn't jump in and help whip the Germans and the French. Well, he'd get lost. He'd be lost, well, anyway, he did get lost. They just cut him out, and they formed a parallel 38 through the center. One side was Russia, one side was American and French.
Wow. Was this Allies or was this?
Huh?
Was this Allies that they drew the line down the middle?
Yeah, I just centered it down the middle, and they call that the line.
What country was that they drew the line down?
Well, it was in Germany and France.
Okay.
That's when the Russians woke up and decided they better get in there and get some of that fella getting was good.
Were you afraid when war broke out that you'd be sent to fight?
No, I never was afraid. I was called, I just enlisted. I remember we was I think there were 13 of us. First of the year they sent us all to Fort Ord up there. And we all took our physicals there. And we all passed our physicals for one man. And so we said, we asked if we could go in and join the Navy, and he says, well, you'll have to come back and go downstairs. And start out down there. So I went downstairs, down the foot of the stairs. There was some books laying out on the table there. And they says, can you see any numbers in them books? And I started to go around the edge. Nope. 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 Well, I got about the fourth one, I could see something coming in. And when I got over a couple more, why, they showed up really plain, and they says, you're colorblind.
Oh.
So you can't go in the Navy.
Did you know you were colorblind before then?
No, I didn't know any of this till I went in. That's all.
Now, tell us the story. You knew you were going to be drafted. And didn't somebody tell you you'd be better off to enlist? You'd get a better assignment if you enlisted?
No.
I'm wrong about that, huh?
No. When they sent us all up, why, the ones that was past the physical, why, they came back and the draft board took them. But that first of the year, why, they sent us all up there.
Okay.
And,
so you were drafted?
and then, well, I think the January quota was filled, and the March quota, there was a boy, Dewey Coger, has joined. So that took that man. And it went to April, and I didn't call anybody there. So May, then I was the next on the list. So that's when I drafted May the 8th, 44.
We just found those dates in your Army papers.
Yep. But anyway, when they sent us overseas, I think I'd given $50 a month. When we went overseas, they says, well, where you going to the combat zone? Well, we'll give you another $10.
Your Army papers say you were getting $6.50 before you went overseas.
Well, then I made that overseas, and I sent a war bond home every month to my dad, and he kept them.
Really?
And when I got home and got married, why, we cashed them in and moved the house over where it used to be, across over there to where it's sitting at now. And we had Hoot Day came and finished the 2 bedrooms up and a bathroom.
With your war bonds.
Uh-huh.
So your house was paid for,
Pretty much paid for by it.
but with your war bonds. Wow.
I think it took me a while. After I got home, I got a check for so long, and I applied it onto the house payment and got it clear before I retired from the school district.
That was the house you live in now, correct?
No,
That was the little red
that
house?
was the old house over on the farm.
Yeah. But then you moved to town when
Yeah.
you retired.
That's when Helen and Leon David decided to go to Salt Lake, and Barbara up there, so they moved to Salt Lake. And the house came up for sale, and they talked it over, decided if we could get the money, why we'd buy that house. But the bonds that I had pretty much paid for the house.
For the white house you live in now?
Oh no, the one
For
in-
the red
on
house.
On the farm.
Wow, that's great. Did you have to borrow money for the white house?
I can't remember whether we borrowed much money or not. I don't think so. I think we had enough to finish it up and do two bedrooms and a bath.
Hmm.
That's why I remember that.
That's great.